Okay, so this is from Michelle. Dear Mark, I often feel stressed and hurried to listen to a hypnosis audio, even though I consciously know that it would help me greatly. From the outside, it would truly seem like I would rather have an entirely unproductive week than take 20 to 25 minutes out of that week to change my mindset. Sometimes my to-do list feels so pressing that it feels like I cannot even allow my mind to relax in the hypnotic induction and just stop the audio a few minutes in. Is there a way I can reframe things for myself to make this less of a struggle? And that's a great question. You know, we are all kinds of things that shouldn't be a chore can become a chore if the mind becomes just a to-do list. You know, are you in this life to see reality through the mental set of a tick-off to-do list? If you are, you're missing vistas of reality, whole oceanfuls of potentiality. So when I say that all types of things, you know, some people have even said to me in couple therapy, you know, that sex has become a chore. You know, something they need to get through, you know, and you know, lie back and think of England, and or going for a walk is a chore. You know, go for a walk, or playing with the kids. You know, I've ticked that off. You know, I've come home from work, I play with the kids for half an hour, I can tick that off, and everything seems to be approached in that way. And in a sense, it's a left hemispheric way of approaching reality. You know, the left hemisphere is very much, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this? I've got to tick this off. I've got to go on vacation, and I've got to tick off all these sites, the Colosseum, the Spanish Steps, I've got to do all this and do that, and then I've done it, and, you know, rather than actually letting reality come to you and enjoying the experience of the right hemispheric sort of, not everything has to have a point to it, or I'm grabbing out and I'm doing this. It's more of a, how can I encompass things? How can I sound like a hippie? How can I absorb reality rather than to manipulate it, which is a left hemispheric kind of approach to reality. So being in nature for a while, you know, slowing things down, not just seeing concretized straight line shapes, are all very good for the right hemisphere to really develop that part of yourself which can do things that you don't know how to do. So, you know, certainly listen to the session when you feel like it. Don't if ever it feels like something that you should do, don't do it. You know, I want you to really want to do it in your own time and in your own way. And in your own way needs to be, that's a contradiction, telling you what your own way should be. It needs to be during a time in which it feels right to do it. Okay, in which you've got untrammeled you time. Okay, that's not going to be interfered with by any other demands. Time when you naturally go into a slower reality. We all have these ultradian rhythms. You know, we have circadian rhythms, as you know, sort of wakefulness during the day, hopefully, more or less, and sleep during the night, hopefully, more or less. Okay, this is a 24-hour cycle that we all have, but there are also circadian rhythms. So every 90 to 120 minutes, the brain switches hemisphere, and you start zoning out, and you might try to override this natural shift in awareness and focus by having caffeine or cigarettes, or if you're at work, you just want to look out the window for 20 minutes or that kind of thing. So, it can be very easy in modern life to get out of touch with these ultradian rhythms, these ancient rhythms in the brain and body. And so when you naturally, a hypnotherapist becomes very good at spotting these ultradian shifts in their clients. So the time to induce hypnosis might not be at the beginning of the session, but it might be after you've been talking for a while, and then you suddenly see fixed attentiveness in their eyes, that they start to stare into space a little bit longer. And that means that they're ready to go through the door into the hypnotic experience. And it's much easier to induce hypnosis when you observe taking that kind of shift. So start first of all, I would suggest, Michelle, I had to check what your name was, to observe these shifts in yourself. It's much easier for a sailor to move the sailboat when he or she becomes aware that the wind is actually going in the right direction, okay, rather than trying to make it work when there's no wind at all, okay, or the wind's blowing in the other way. Okay, I'm not a sailor, so that analogy might not be perfect, but so when you spot this shift in focus of awareness in yourself, that will be the time to listen to the session, okay, and you'll find you get much more benefit from it.